So that leads us into the next phase of development. So at this point, we've understood our users' needs and we're getting into the development cycle. And our principle here is not just users first, but users throughout. So while it's important to talk to users at the beginning, fully vet and understand their needs, we also want to take a people first approach during development so we can make sure that we're incorporating the solutions to the user's problems as we go. And we have a few tips and tricks for you here. The first thing that you want to do is determine your MVP early. And no, I don't mean most valuable player, although I like to think my dashboards are the MVPs of people's Tableau servers.
They are.
Thanks, Keith. In this case, I'm talking about minimum viable product. Now, this is probably a term that you've heard tossed around in like the software development space, and it can feel really official and often daunting. But all this really means is figuring out what are the most essential parts of your design to include in your initial build. So if we take away all of like the nice to haves and fluffy features, what version of our dashboard is going to get our users from point A to point B most effectively? And what's going to allow us to start building something rapidly so that we can get user feedback sooner rather than later, which leads to our second recommendation here, which is rapid prototyping. So with your MVP defined, now your job is to get something into a prototype. And what I mean by prototype is basically anything that gets ideas out of your head and into a tangible format that users can react to. So this might look like the first version of a dashboard. It might look like a wireframe, some sort of prototype, in any sort of format, but you want something that users can see, touch, feel, and then react to. When I first started building dashboards, I would aim to get things to their most pixel perfect state before I showed them to my end users. We want to put our best foot forward. And so I wanted them to trust my experience. But 99% of the time, there were always change requests that left me feeling defeated because I'd spent so much time making this pixel perfect design. And then I would feel like I'd wasted all that time because it just ended up changing. So now, by asking users for their feedback throughout the development process, I get to answer that question of, am I going in the right direction a lot sooner? And I'm usually less emotionally attached to what I'm building because I've spent less time on it. So when those change requests come, it's a lot easier for me to be flexible and incorporate those changes because I want to make sure I'm meeting users' needs. And this is something that Keith was able to do really well in the Johnson & Johnson project, which he's going to tell us more about.